and it's great to see you all today. We're looking forward to the chat this afternoon. So, without further ado, I will pass it over to Michael, our development, lead, who works a lot in our HubSpot sales and now in the service realm. Michael.
Thank you, Abigail. Appreciate that. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday, and thank you for spending some time out of your day to join us here on the Charlotte Hug. We've had a series the last couple of months of really kind of uncovering some new offerings that HubSpot has outlaid in a lot of their hubs. The purpose of this hub, again, is really to have a dialogue among common entities, meaning, if you're on the end user side and your company is using it, if you're a solopreneur and you're using it, or if you're part of a big organization and you're using this platform, it changes constantly every day. And this is supposed to be a forum and a community where you can come and get ideas, talk about challenges, talk about areas of subject matter experts that could help you kind of leverage and optimize this platform. As many of us, I've seen some people here like William, and I know even Abigail have been this platform for a number of years. They've seen this thing come light years ahead, and to do this on your own would be some really heavy lifting. So I think it takes a village, so to speak, or a hug to be able to leverage this platform for what it is. So again, this hug is supposed to be a community of like-minded individuals that can get together and share. So my idea is not to come here and slide whip you with a bunch of slides and present to you, but really just to kind of foster a conversation. I'd love to have you guys interject. I'm monitoring the chat box as well as Abigail and Kara. So if you have some questions, please stop me. This is not something I'm going to do a soliloquy up here and just kind of talk through. I just want to make sure you guys get a good exercise in the next 45 minutes or so about this subject matter. And speaking of that, we're talking today about the Service Hub. I've always thought of this as kind of the sole hub off to the side that nobody's really paid attention to. The glitz and glory go to sales and go to marketing, and that's where things are going. But there's been a redirection as of late. Service Hub has got a resurgence because we'll talk about this, as the title says here, is complete your customer's journey. I think there was a lot of emphasis put on gaining leads and finding prospects and getting them in, and then turning them from prospects into customers. And once you give them to customers, get as much detailed information as you can about them. And that's kind of where things stopped. Going forward, HubSpot really discovered that there's a missing link there, and there's a lot of other entities that kind of plugged in and worked kind of with HubSpot to help cover the service side. But like anything else, they thought, hey, why not be able to complete the journey and build a portal or a hub that will be able to complete this and help you delight your customer, turn them into an advocate, and keep them satisfied and continuing in your cycle. The screen here again. My name is Michael Christian. I'm the business development lead here at Stratagon. Stratagon is a platinum agency located in North Carolina. We have offices in both High Point and Charlotte, and we've been lucky enough to help foster this hug along with a number of other persons. I'm not sure. I know William's on. I didn't see if Caitlin's on or Dar's on, but and Emily's missing today. But again, this also takes a village to be able to put this event on. And they gave Service Hub to me, the sales guy, which I'm like, why'd y'all do that? But if you really think about it, I'm trying to offer this to our clients and to our prospects. And the best way to sell it is to go in and the best way to learn it is to go in and try to sell it. So knowing the idiosyncrasies and the challenges that it helps solve from a customer standpoint is something I've really taken a deep step into to really help grow our customers' business and help them complete that journey for their customers. I've also added a friend, a customer, and a client here, Kelly Buck. Kelly is a digital marketing manager for EEA Companies. And I'll kind of get to Kelly a bit more because he's somebody that's gone through this journey of adding the Service Hub to his organization. And I really thought I'd talk to him and let you guys hear about the decision-making that led him to bring this into the organization and what they're hoping to get out of it through the process. I think if anything else, if you guys are out there thinking about adding this to your portal, or if you're on the agency side and haven't really jumped into as far as selling it, that you maybe need to, and learning from a perspective of a person that has just gone through this, I think would be very enlightening. So again, I've got some questions for Kelly to kind of walk through, but please also jump in as well to ask him questions for this as well. So thank you, Kelly, for joining us here today. All right. So here we go. Goals for the hub. What are we actually doing here? What's the whole point of doing this? Again, this is not a pitch or anything for service. It's really about expanding and talking about the whole HubSpot ecosystem and where you can leverage it and optimize it to get the best out of it. We talk about a tool in your toolbox that you can. The whole purpose, I always use this analogy, is whenever somebody is going to look at Home Depot or Lowe's for a tool, they're hoping that tool is going to be able to make their job easier or make it faster and more efficient. And that's what I look at for the different hubs within HubSpot. You have to kind of understand what your organization's goals are and work backwards from there and figure out what those things are doing. And again, the goal today is just to talk about what the features and benefits and the idiosyncrasies about this that could basically fill the gaps or challenges that you have that relate to customer service, and how you can really help tie that in. And not only that, take learnings from that, enhance the other parts of your organization, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's leadership. All those things can really play a part in that data to grab there. And again, I want this to be a discussion. Like I said, I'm trying to make sure I can look at the chat box, but again, Abigail or Kara, please feel free to stop me if you see something in there that we can explore or talk about. But this is supposed to be an open dialogue and to go into that. All right. Without further ado, let's get started. So what is the customer journeys or experience? If you think about it, for you marketers that have been around for a while in the HubSpot ecosystem, you remember this old kind of diagram, this infographic. This talks about, kind of what we're looking to do to grow business. And starting with the marketing hub, you're looking at strangers and try to get them to come into your ecosystem, become visitors, turn them into leads and customers, and ultimately become promoters of your product. The thing about it is, the first part of this infographic is kind of led through the initial hubs that HubSpot has. You look at the marketing hub, that is lead generation. That's kind of going out there trying to find traffic for your website, trying to draw in people for brand awareness and understanding of what your brand or what your product is or your service is, and really trying to indoctrinate them there, answer the questions they need through an agnostic way, but also be able to do things through automation and like to continue to nurture them and draw them in. You look at sales, and I know that William did a very good job last month talking about sales and how that's an integral part of your business. And again, believe it or not, there are still companies that I talk to every day that don't have this central location to have all their clients' information in, which still baffles me. But again, not surprising, and kind of why I have a job today is, having the CRM, what I call central point of truth. It's the one-stop shopping. It's not keeping things on Excel files and on Google Docs and on ledgers and different things. It's all one-stop shopping as far as the sales go. And the biggest thing about it is the more information that you have about your prospect or about your client and the ease of use, always kind of liken it to having a personal assistant, whether it's building tasks or making phone calls or all the other entities that happen when you're nurturing somebody through the sales process. It's there in sales, and it's a great central part to have it. I had a conversation just a week ago with a client that's really focused on having their website change, all the other stuff. And when I started asking questions, they didn't even have a CRM. And that was shocking to me. I was like, before we do anything, we need to go back and have a central point of truth and be able to have a part to put in your information, because they were still using stuff out of their ERP system, or they were doing it through Outlook, which again, it's hard to argue with somebody that's running a $25 million revenue company, but how much more efficient and how much more information and data could they use if they had a central point of truth? And the last one is the CMS hub. I know a lot of you have your websites or developing on the CMS. To me, I always say it just takes you out of the web maintenance game. you're now back into being a marketer and being in sales with having your CMS, because you have control of your content. You're getting business intelligence that's coming from every intersection that people are having or individuals are having with your website. It's just a better experience all around, and that's just part of it. So what's the missing links? Next slide, please. The next slide is the Service Hub. The Service Hub is what you think of when you think of customer service. People always think customer service is problems or challenges, and it can be. But the challenge that you've got with that is how do you manage it and how do you keep up with it? And the volume can vary, and it's all relative too. We have some clients that maybe get 1 or 2 complaints or challenges with their products a month, but that could be a big deal. Some of those ticket items can be $250,000 or more. Or you have some high volume where it's like more tied to B2C or retail, where they have 50 to 60 complaints a day, and it may be warranted or not warranted, but still you need to have some kind of way to manage that and lead that. So HubSpot said, hey, how do we continue with this journey and complete it? And more importantly, tie in the other conveniences and other data that comes in with the HubSpot ecosystem. And they developed the Service Hub. So if you think about your last customer service experience, and I just had this the other day, and it's frustrating because I went to Home Depot and I bought this wine refrigerator, and I ordered it online, went to pick it up and got it, and the box looked like it had been dragged behind the truck all the way from wherever it was delivered. And I said, can we open it here just to take a look at it? And I opened it, and literally every part of that piece was dinged except for the glass, not broken. But I was like, I can't accept this. But to tell you, this is my second time doing that. So I actually called to complain or challenge, and this has been since Saturday. I still haven't gotten a call back or anything from customer service. So you can see the level of frustration I've had, where I'm a loyal Home Depot person. I go there. It's very close to my house. I go there all the time. But now I'm having second thoughts. I'm like, I can't get an answer about this. And the challenging part, I don't know what system they're using. By the end of this, I'll be able to send this presentation to them, and hopefully they can pick up HubSpot or Service Hub. But it's just frustrating because it's just makes a bad experience where I started out having a good experience, and it just tainted everything because I can't get an answer. But the cool thing about Service Hub, and if anybody's had an experience out there, maybe I could take a second to check the pulse. Has anybody out there had experience with Service Hub? Maybe you can just in the comments just say yes, no, maybe, wanting to. Let me know. Some of the things, if you look at the features and benefits that start with Service Hub, think about something as simple as ticketing. When somebody does call in and have the challenge with your service or product, you at least want to acknowledge it. You want to be able to flag it in your system and say, hey, there's a challenge here. Let's tie this to the existing customer's account so they know that, because other people would like to know that part. You have everything from calling. You can field calls through the HubSpot system, which is fantastic, and have records of it. And not only externally, you'll be able to kind of remember or talk about what things the customer exchanged with you, but even from an internal standpoint, you can use it if you're a customer service manager for training purposes. You can listen to the calls, and the dictation that comes back and puts into the call record is there. You have everything from templated emails. You have conversation bots, which is great. William saying, yes, we use it for new client onboarding. We're exploring NPS surveys, etc. Those are all tools we'll get to in a second, but that's great, William, you're having experience with that. Maybe I'll ask you a little bit later about some of your surveys. But also knowledge base. Think about the information you can put in there, and when you continue to add customer service representatives and common issues come up, they can go to that knowledge base and be able to satisfy that customer's needs just by the information, rather than having to put you on hold or to escalate it to a different customer service rep or a manager. That knowledge base is just a wealth of information area. Think about sequences. Think about not only if you answer the customer's questions, but making sure they're satisfied and back to delight mode. Send them information, send them things in a sequential, automated type style that can continue to bring them back in delight and work through that. Templates and things of the sort that you can have and just pull up if things are pretty common. And that way it makes your customer service team very streamlined and focused. And all these features, like anything else with HubSpot, there's different tiers. There's everything from a free version to pro and enterprise, and you just get much more distinction. I'll have to put a link in here to show you guys where the differences are. But for this purposes, you can tell this is well thought out about what things you need at different levels. I think the one thing you should really kind of check out is the conversation bots and live chat. That can really make your customer service department, if it's only a customer service person of one, seem larger and more efficient, because you've got things that will keep people through the system and kind of take them down a decision tree to find out what the real issue is before you pick up the phone and call them. It's so much easier to have that technology there. It's imperative. But these are all things that really help. And I can tell from the time they first launched Service Hub to now how the innovation and how the feedback they've taken has been put into play. And again, HubSpot relaunched service. I think it was maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago now, and they put a real emphasis on this. And there's so many other enhanced features that now it's a player out of the box as far as in the ecosystem. You know, you've got systems out there like Zoho, or I'm sorry, Zendesk, and some others that were kind of purpose built for that. But if you think about the true integration, how it's going to work with the other aspects of HubSpot are dialed in. I'll stop here before I go to the next slide to see if anybody has any questions or comments that they want to talk about, or any experiences you guys have had with Service Hub. I know William just said he had some experience with the surveys. Surveys are fantastic because, you know, after your interaction, you can actually, you know, send those surveys out and have customers engage with them and give you feedback. So you take that back to your department and be able to enhance or better focus your questions or your response time or whatever it may be. You get a true feedback of what those are, and those things can be imported into your system in a dashboard shared with upper management or used throughout the process. Kelly says, love the knowledge base layouts, makes it super easy for the full team to commit ideas and build articles, share the wealth of knowledge super well. That's exactly right. I think that's you know, using knowledge base, and I think it's a learning they had from some of the other platforms within the hub. The knowledge base is key. Think about getting a brand new customer service representative and how everything is so new and scary. But with that knowledge base, it's just literally like a comfort, like a security blanket there they can always go to and reference. And not only just for just searching for when they have a challenge, but even just going through it and learning it almost like a training module. You go through that knowledge base and really just take in all the stuff that people before you have put in there, as well as what the management have lined out that what you should respond to certain challenges. Quick question here that William has for everybody. It says here is, have you used the new customer login feature that was added earlier this year? I'm wondering about the benefits of building a customer portal for any service agencies or experience. Does anybody use that? Oops. Anyone? We've had some customers kind of use that, and it is key, because again, if you have some portals that you want to have exclusively for a customer to log into their account and go through, I mean, again, everybody has these kind of customer access, but this is just an enhanced piece to have your customer have a unique experience that's just tailored just for them. But I know we've got some customers starting that, but I don't know if I've got any full-fledged. Some of my account managers here at Stratagon might be able to talk to that more, but I don't have an experience of that straight off, William. All right. So again, just if you have a second, I think this would be something we'll come back to and talk more about is just far as the Service Hub and the features of it. But really, all these different features are supposed to help, you know, cut down the response time and stop having people passed around. You know, one of the frustrating things a lot of times when you go to customer service is having to repeat yourself. If you're a customer and you have a problem and you get escalated, you have to repeat yourself. But this stuff is archived and taken in, and the conversation is recorded, or the conversation is detailed in the notes. It makes it so that your experience is less frustrating having to rehash your story every time, or the challenge you have. It's already a frustrating experience to call. It's even better if it's more succinct. So my thing is, if you think about it, is the what's in it for me? What's the WIFM? The WIFM for this is data. This is what we're fighting for, is having data. And everybody throughout the organization is really going to want to use this data to enhance different things. We want to know what the experience our customers are having with our service or product. Think about having that data and understanding what you could do with it. Could you enhance the product more in R&D? Could you focus more on the service to streamline or omit certain parts that are hindering or having the challenge? Having that feedback or data is invaluable to making better products and better services, and service does that for you. It talks about what challenges and problems are you finding. Is it something recurrent? Is it something you can kind of get ahead of it, build a frequently asked questions list, or put something out in your content on your website or in your package insert that talks about these challenges that come up, and be able to nip them in the bud so somebody doesn't have that challenge, that experience. Talk about beta testing. All of us have tried beta testing before on our phones or other devices, and as much as you think it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. But beta testing only goes so far. When you get this out to the general public, they'll really tell you how your product or service is used or received, and you'll get more information back. So it's really a deep dive and a broader beta test that take the information, because a beta is you're supposed to learn. That's the whole point of it, is to learn what's going right, what's going wrong, and be able to make the tweaks before the general public gets it. But again, this just helps you kind of streamline that, get more. And back to that, I said here, how can we improve it? What things can we get better at? What can be more efficient and easy to do? The sales guy in me says, wow, how can we use this to upsell and resell? So maybe somebody's coming back and having a challenge, and it's not the right product for them. Maybe if ask the right questions in the discovery process or through the sales process, we get them into the right product or service. If we knew that ahead of time, we know certain questions or certain things to ask now that may deter us from even getting to this point. So upsell and resell opportunities with this data is uber important. And last but not least is we can build reports that can keep us informed. Whoever wins with the most data wins. Whoever dies with the most data wins. And that's what people are really focused on. If you think about everything from the C-suite through customer service management, through marketers and their management, as well as the sales, we all want data, and we want to be able to use that data in a clean way to tweak and make our jobs better. Valerie says, I haven't personally tried the login feature, but can see that being useful. Good comment there, Valerie, just kind of building on what William was saying there. Okay, can we go to the next slide? I talked about before is really having, what the benefits are and who benefits. And that, again, it goes back to the WIFM. If you think about the C-suite, because they're the ones that always worry about the bottom line. What's the growth look like? What's the projection? What does the overall cost look like? How do we cut down expenses? The C-suite would love to see some of the custom dashboards that can come out of this service. I wish I had a chance to spin these up, but I would have spun some up and shown you what the dashboards look like. Just showing what volume looks like, what certain problems you can, like with anything within HubSpot, there are templated dashboards, but you can also make these custom ones. And I'm sure if a CEO got out of bed in the morning and they picked their phone, they looked at their HubSpot and looked at customer service, they can look at all the information or data is coming through and know what they need to tackle or focus on in the day's kind of givings. You look at customer service, they're gonna have the most benefit because it's gonna be organized. And again, if they have a small team, their team can seem larger and mightier by being more efficient. And this is what gives them a chance to be more efficient and effective with a platform that is geared right for this. If you look at the sales teams want to know where are challenges, where are the pitfalls that we can avoid. If we can ask different questions or better questions to avoid putting a person in the wrong service or the wrong product, wouldn't that be better? Or if there's a product out there that's not fitting our customers' needs, what can we give as a feedback back to manufacturing or back to the data scientist to be able to tweak a software or to change a platform that could be better utilized for the end customer? Sales is going to eat this data up, and it's mutually beneficial for all of these individuals to ask those questions to one another to get the information. And last but not least, the marketer. The marketer is going to know what areas to focus on, what things to kind of drive in their messaging that either avoids these challenges or highlights the benefit they're having with certain products that are more advantageous. It gives you another collaborative piece, another piece you can focus on. Any questions, concerns? I'd love to hear some feedback here from anybody that's either thinking about implementing service and organization or has done it. Kind of what if they represent, let's say, a leadership position or any one of these positions, or even a marketer. Most of us here are probably marketers. How that's affected them or challenged them. I'd love to kind of hear from you how you guys are thinking about this if you haven't done it, or thinking about it if you're wanting to do it. Okay. I'll maybe come back to that a little bit and see, at a later point and see if that's given. All right, let's do a time check here for a second. We're almost top of the hour here, so I think we're working on a good time. Like I mentioned earlier in this presentation or this discussion is I thought what would really help us all kind of talk through this is talking to somebody that's been through this. I think real world experience is always beneficial, and there's learnings, both good, bad, and ugly, that you can kind of learn from this. And I know I introduced before. Next slide, please. Kelly Buck. He is the marketing manager from EEA Companies, and I think this is a very interesting kind of case study because Kelly has worked in a lot of different fields and worked in marketing, but this is pretty much probably one of his biggest tests, but one I've never seen him smile bigger on. And I'd love to kind of, without further ado, introduce him and talk a bit more about the experience he's had. Hey, Kelly, how you doing today?
Hey, Michael. Happy to be here, guys.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time today to really work through this. I think that the starting question would be is to explain EEA Company, because it sounds a little bit like Acme. On the cartoons, like a little bit does a little bit of everything. So I think you need to explain to everybody what EEA Companies are and just how far those tentacles go, and that you're a marketer of one and how that works.
Yeah. We are, it's an interesting organization. So we're a group of over 20 privately held entities that are involved in this huge, wide range of industries. So we have some hospitality properties, we have some multifamily homes, we have some commercial real estate. We also have a software product, which is kind of the interesting one. And we're always looking for interesting and unique investments and ways to grow. The way that the team is structured, so the actual EEA organization kind of provides shared services for all of those entities. And those shared services are a centralized marketing team, which I'm a head of, financial services, legal services, business counsel, and HR and talent acquisition. So that allows those entities really to be able to scale and not have just be able to share the burden of some of those central service costs.
Yeah. I just, like I said, when Kelly first approached me and came to me, because the first intro was, Kelly bleeds orange. He's a HubSpot guy through and through. And I remember when he took this position, he's like, look, this is all over the place. But you're talking about, like I said, you've got a software company that deals with municipalities and doing billing. You've got commercial real estate. You've got actually resort properties that are in foreign countries and some that are in domestic here in the state that are just a different plethora. But there's some shared experiences and shared customers across some, and some not. So needing firewalls and needing certain logistics is something that was big in Kelly. And Kelly, when he first got marketing enterprise, that was was great for him as a marketer. And then the sales team was being restructured, and he needed something in sales to be able to put up this. So he picked up that, and that was great. And built a couple websites on the CMS with another entity. But he was like, wait, the part that we really need that's kind of the biggest mess was our customer service. I'll let you talk about it a little bit. It's like I want you to think about what led you to kind of this ecosystem, one, and two, what led you guys to think about adding service.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing that let us that inform the decision more than anything is just that we have a small centralized team of these shared services. So like for marketing, and at the time when we were making a lot of these decisions, I was the one marketing guy for all 20 of those organizations. So it was very much survival mode for me. So it's like, man, if I have to go to Facebook business or even Facebook proper or Twitter, LinkedIn, MailChimp, any of these other tools that is so much time that I lose. Whereas having everything consolidated into just like the marketing hub, for instance, was frankly like survival. Like, hey, the only way this is going to work is to have that all consolidated. And then from there, it just kind of grew. So as the data was coming in, as we were able to prove things out, it was like, okay, cool. Well, we need some websites. Well, again, I'm a single marketing person, so I've got to have something that's easy for me to use. And I know enough HTML to get myself in trouble. So I just essentially had to go in this survival mode. So we added on the CMS and we were able to scale from there. The other thing that was incredibly handy for us was just how user friendly all of the systems were. And that played out really when we were looking at the CRM. There was this idea that there was so much complexity with enterprise software that it wasn't going to be user friendly. It was going to take so much training and development time. So we really had to invest that time in, or invest in a tool that was easy for our users to use no matter where they were.
Yeah, I just remember just going through that process with you and just trying to be, like we talked about earlier, I talked about earlier, is the one central piece of truth, just having something that you can kind of use and run yourself and be able to focus on that. The thing that I thought the most interesting was the data component. I mean, you've got some companies that are intermingling, meaning some of the resort properties maybe could share customers, but you have others where the software and some of the commercial property, there's no way. So talk to me a little bit about the data and how you kind of wrangled that or separated that, or tell me a little bit about that component.
Yeah, we definitely needed to have some pretty strong firewalls against some of our organizations. So what that ended up looking like was essentially two HubSpot orgs for us. We've got one that's on the software and our centralized shared services, and we've got one that kind of handles all of our hospitality. And even inside of like the hospitality entity, what was attractive for me is that one, all of that data was together. So all of our contacts for our property in Costa Rica and our property up in Virginia, in Middleburg, Virginia, were both able to share that central database so that over time we can build things like loyalty programs that take advantage of both of those things. We can do cross promotion opportunities and cross promotion activities for both of those properties that all pull from this single database. On separately, the muni billing side, our software organization, we really didn't want any of that hospitality data over there. So we wanted to do a separate org to keep that thing separate. And HubSpot was nice because anybody that has had to juggle multiple organizations, you understand that it is quite easy to switch between the two. And really at the moment, that's just me being able to switch and move that around in some of our shared services. So again, having that like extra bit of user interface friendliness, it's hard to quantify how important that is when making a decision for a tool set. But as with any tool, if your users are not going to be able to use it or find it complex, then they're not going to input data, and that data is not going to be beneficial for anyone inside of the organization.
Yeah. Kelly, was that a hard sell to upper management to do this?
Yes and no. It was interesting. As with everything, when you see the cost of any sort of tool set, it makes people a little bit afraid. But what was beneficial about HubSpot and the path that we took is that we were able to see a lot of immediate benefit on the marketing side, just both in, frankly, time saving, but also being able to track and see that success coming in, right? And the way that it's led is that you're able to say, okay, cool, I generated this much traffic, but it's actually very difficult for me to prove that in dollars. Okay, great. Well, we had a CRM, it wasn't being utilized very well, and it wasn't the data wasn't trustworthy. So now that led just kind of naturally into conversations of, okay, cool, how can we prove out the ROI on the data? Well, the best way is to get the sales team in here. Okay, cool. So the sales organization gets in, we set the CRM up, all of our sales data suddenly becomes interesting and beneficial. And now the service organization is saying, hey, we want to do surveys, or we want to build a robust knowledge base. okay, well, here's a tool set that has those capabilities with it that our sales team is already in and our marketing team is already in. And so now we're able to have this full and complete picture
Right.
of what individual users are how they're interacting with their organizations.
Hmm. Yeah, and I recall from our interactions that you did have something in place for your customer service team. You said you had I think it was not dropping names, but it was I think Zendesk you had, and see he didn't see Puppy doesn't like it either. The bad name out there. But you had a component already, but it wasn't really fully satisfying your needs. Talk to me about that process. Not so much about the product, but what wasn't going on in your organization that you didn't gel with that platform.
Yeah, and honestly, it was a lot of our own devices that we ended up with. We had Zendesk. It really is a fantastic tool.
Mhm.
Again, another expensive tool, but as we as we were in this growth mode, it was very much like, okay, we have to solve the problems that we have immediately faced in front of us.
Mhm.
And because we were in that mode, it was like, wow, we need a customer service tool, we need a robust customer service tool. And we just purchased something, got it put in place because we had an influx of customers, we had a lot of popularity during the pandemic
Yeah.
and with our software organization. And so it was like very much survival mode.
Mhm.
And looking back, the opportunity that we missed was the opportunity to really view our processes from the entire organization's viewpoint. So the unique instance that we have, our software, we also offer managed services on top of that.
Mhm.
So if it's a utility and they're generating bills every week, and they're also doing what are called connects or disconnects. So people move into a residence or move out of a residence, and they need to
Mhm.
hook up their water or electric or anything like that. Um, we offer services that allow us to go into smaller entities and help those people out. And so, again, thinking about data separation, we were using one tool set that was for our managed service product. And so
Okay.
all of those customers coming in that weren't going to be marketable customers, as well as people like, hey, I need a password reset or I need a new feature, all of that was flowing into the same tool set. So as we're now sitting, we needed some opportunity to separate those things as our marketing organization is really getting off, as we're wanting to see like customer tickets and dig into details and data.
Mhm.
There was an opportunity for business processes that now we're having to take some time to step back, review, and see how we can separate those two instances
Mhm.
out and kind of clean up the data. So I guess the word of warning, as with all of these systems, they're all really great in their own unique ways and they're all really flexible, but you need to view the business processes first and define, okay, cool, this is how, if we've got this ticket coming in, here is literally mapping out the processes to support that. And then you're able to bend and make all those tool sets work.
Yeah.
In our instance, I've found that HubSpot's the most flexible to be able to bend into what your processes are. A lot of the other tools make you bend to their process rather than the tool being able to support yours. So that was
Okay.
another reason why we wanted to go with HubSpot specifically.
Okay. That's good. No, no, I think you brought up a good point, Kelly. I think the part that a lot of people don't think about it's a tool, and the tool works right every way. But if you don't have your processes or something in place, it's gonna spit out the garbage that you put in. So you've got to be able to have your systems to sync, and not to say that any of these systems don't have learnings. I always say that you can get it to about 80 or 90% where it needs to be, and then your organization and your customers will help you fulfill the last 20 to 10% or whatever it needs to fulfill. But if you have nothing going in, you're gonna get nothing going out. So I think that's exactly right. The tool is only as good as your process. And what I think it does is it forces you to go through those exercises. And I've been in the room where it gets to be heated conversations, and everybody wants the best out of what you can for the organization, but there's difference of opinion and difference of structure that you have to kind of work through to make sure. But your company and your organization will be better for it in the outcome because the process will be there. It'll be repeatable, and that's when you can kind of scale, meaning it's no longer going to be a hindrance when the process is not there. The scalability and the growth of the organization will take off from there because of that capability. So that's definitely good.
Yeah. One
So
thing as like we're going through the processes and doing it, the North Star that I kind of keep reminding pretty much everybody in the conversations I'm coming to is that we like to think of our organization in these nice like departmentalized kind of
yeah.
worlds, right? Like you have marketing and then they go to sales and then they go to
Mhm.
service. But from the customer's point of view, that is all one interaction with the
Good
organization.
point.
So
Very
they're
good
not
point.
thinking about, oh, I'm talking with muni billing, I'm talking with, or they're not thinking I'm talking about sales, I'm talking with service, I'm talking with muni billing.
Mhm.
So kind of going back to that from your customer's point of view, and it's very easy to say this, very much more difficult when you're trying to marry those handoff processes and
Mhm.
everything with that perspective. But that I continue to be coming back to and continue to be reminded of is that it is like the customer's point of view is the interaction with the organization, not you, the interaction with your departments.
Yeah. No, I think that's all timely and kind of goes back to what I was speaking about before. You're right. We think of it as in silos or different areas, and we're trying even internally to think about it about take down those walls and let's work together. Let's use shared information to grow the organization as a whole. But that's the way that the customer views you. They don't care. You're a whole to them, and if they have a bad experience, I don't care if it started in the sales process or it ends in the customer service part. If it's a bad experience, they're gonna label the whole thing, and they're not gonna segment and say, oh, everything else is perfect, but the sales, the customer service part was bad. Everything else I'm great with. No, you taint the whole thing. So I think that's a very
Right.
good mindset to get into is thinking about what's the customer's view, what's the customer's journey. Back to the kind of genesis of this whole conversation is how can we complete this? How can we keep them in that the delight mode, and more important, make them in the ambassador or the promoter mode. We want them to go out there and be we always say is you'll get somebody will tell 10 people about a good experience, but tell 70 about a bad experience. So you really want to kind of focus on that and
Right.
get that going. But this service really does give you that data that you can continue to enhance and grow your market with. So Kelly, I thank you for talking through that with me. One last question I'll ask you, because I know that you guys are still in the throes of building out this system service for EA companies. But tell me what your kind of hopes and dreams are as a marketer. Like, what do you hope this? Because again, selfishly, I know there's data sets there that you want. But tell me what your goals are and your dreams are. Let's say 6 months from now, and let's say 5 years from now, or you can go maybe
Yeah.
three
I
years to that
mean,
much.
yeah. Yeah. Like I said, it is like you hit the nail on the head and why me as a marketing person, I really care about that sales experience, about that service experience is because when they have those bad experience, there's no amount of ad budget, there's no amount of emailing that you can do that counteracts that customer service experience. And
Mhm.
just like your experience with Home Depot, right? Like
Yeah.
you didn't talk about the Home Depot sales or the Home Depot service. It was
No.
Home Depot
Depot.
that
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
having the issues with the wine cellar or wine fridge on, right? So for me, the thing that I want to do is really create this culture of being able to think about our customers. And that honestly is one thing I love so much about our company is that there is a like philosophy of this radical assistance for our clients. And so our mission statement is that we want to make utilities more efficient and walk alongside those organizations that provide like such a
Mhm.
good critical role to society and keep like lights on, water flowing, and like all of those things. And we have this passion to make them so much more efficient that goes throughout the entirety of our organization. So when we're talking about like what I want to see in the next 3 to 5 years, it is really the fact that we're just living out what we preach internally and that
Mhm.
we're able to take our own processes, our own experience, and to make that like radically efficient.
Mhm.
And so that we can show these utility organizations, hey, this is possible in this space. This is not only possible, it's helpful. And that it's also going to be able to provide such a great benefit to society
Yeah.
that, hey, when your utility is working well and your utility customers are working well, frankly, everybody on this call is going to benefit. And also, they're going to be happier. Their bills are going to be more efficient. They're going to be
Mhm.
lower. They're going to be able to pay how they want, right? Like,
Okay.
there are a lot of these things that you're able to do. And really, from a business sense, when we're radically focused on making those utilities more efficient through their billing processes and through their service processes, it's only going to help our bottom line, because it's going to be like, hey, muni billing's the best. Like, here's all of this great experience I've had with this, which kind of feeds into the marketing cycle, feeds into the sales cycle, keeps our customers here long term, and kind of rolls up into itself and flywheels up, to make us an industry leader in the space. So that's what I'm really looking for. And I just know this tool set's going to be able to help us with that once we get all the rest of our processes and everything else ironed out, which is definitely significant work.
Well, look, Kelly, I appreciate you sharing that with us, because again, I think that, it's easy to parade the sunshine and the great experiences, but I want to be able to show the real world. And I think what you're going through is just, people always say you got to break a few eggs and make an omelet. I think that's what you're going through. You're having to get the process down and getting it, but the belief and the focus on the tool, and the fact that the tool will continue to morph and change to help benefit and get better, is what we're all kind of advocating and hoping for, which I know in the true HubSpot spirit it will. But I think you've got the right mindset. And again, it just takes work to get to that point. And people think, let me just add tool instant success. That's not always the case. The tool is just a vehicle. You still have to drive it and plan for it to get it to that point. So I really do appreciate your time today. And more importantly, this unique case, like I said, you really are the acme of the world, meaning you've got 20 different companies that are in all different ways and different things, and you're having to spearhead and use that. But I think you're a good case study for that in many ways. But thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Kelly? Kelly's in the throes of it. I know we've got a little bit of time left here. I want to know if anybody has any in the chat screen. I don't see any right now. Abigail, do you see any?
Yeah, so I will go ahead and we'll jump over into the Q&A. And honestly, if you'll both just stay on, then I'm sure there's some helpful information that both of you can provide. The first question we have is, onboarding your team to a new platform can be a challenge. What's your opinion on ease of setup and maintenance of Service Hub? Any advice on how to help with company adoption and integration?
You want to take that, Kelly?
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit. It kind of goes back to, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. My dog is ridiculous, and she's my favorite coworker here in work from home world. So I don't know what she's doing. No, go up. Sorry, guys. My opinion, it kind of comes back to business processes and having your executive team and your management team really invest that time into mapping it out. Because, and like when I say mapping it out, I literally mean like open up Lucid Chart, open up some mind mapping program, and literally map out the entirety of that process, because that's going to be the most efficient way to show everyone, hey, here is what this needs to look like. Everything from that instance on is very much just teaching the tool sets and how to use them. And again, with HubSpot, like I found that the user interface is really friendly, really intuitive. So like when we were onboarding our sales team, it was very easy because HubSpot's laid out and made it very easy. They've got great training and great support too. So it's kind of like this mix of make sure your business processes are really good, really mapped out. Make sure that your users kind of understand the full process and flow. And then everything else usually falls into place. It's all just other technical training, which is easy enough, and HubSpot has those great resources for.
Yeah, I would echo all those points that Kelly said, and I don't, whether it's customer service or any of the other hubs or any platform for that matter, implementation, the technical side is the easy part. It's the mindset and understanding that this is a tool that's going to come in and help our organization grow is what you have to get people. And it starts top down. You have to start with the top, that they buy into it and they preach it, and it's a part of it. It's not Big Brother. It's not something that's there to kind of make them do extra work. In all reality, it should make them do less work because it becomes more efficient and more effective. It's giving you a tool. So like anything else, a lot of people I think that implement new technology like software, it's like a one and done. I think there needs to be not only a gradual step-by-step process into it, but also a continuing education through the process. Because I don't care whether typically implementation of new software tends to lean towards the new user, and it doesn't really help foster or optimize the skill set of those that have been in it for a while or those that are kind of senior in it. So there needs to be some type of continuing education. And Kelly said, HubSpot's got a ton of that information in there, but it needs to be mandated. It's not one of those things that you can kind of just fly by. Oh, I'll go and take that whenever I can, that rule. But it needs to be training and focus that is giving people more experience and more leadway to optimize the tool. But it's a mindset start first, and then it's a continuing education for me going second.
Thank you. I'd like to kind of add on to that a little bit. Question. I know that's really about a people question. So, Kelly, have you ever experienced maybe somebody being an outlier on that? Like, oh, we've always done things the same way. How do you get somebody on a team who is just kind of not wanting to do it?
Yeah, man, that is definitely a real challenge. Honestly, and it seems kind of simple, but like listen to their challenges, listen to what they're saying, try and root out what that point of fear is. Because oftentimes it is like, well, if they're saying, hey, we've always done it this way, it's kind of a fear of, oh, maybe my job is not like going to be guaranteed here, right? And when you're like really listening to those fears and really like connecting with them on a very one-to-one and human level and able to see all of that, it's like, okay, cool, let me show you, hey, here's how you can guarantee a little bit of safety in that scenario. Here's why this new tool is not going to be the end of the world, and here are some really helpful ways to provide training. Oftentimes, like I hear it's like a training issue, or it is a lack of communication issue, or again, it's like there's always some kind of fear that I've found that you can usually be able to talk through, and that takes a lot of humility, and it takes a lot of being able to listen. And also, when you're doing these large software investments, make sure you're pulling in as many people as you can, right? Like, don't dictate that, hey, we're going with this new tool and we've already bought it and good luck. Like, pull them in, invite them into the conversation, invite them into the review process as best you can, right? But like, make sure that they're part of it and you're able to talk through those fears as much as possible.
No, there's not much I can add to that. That was perfect, Kelly.
Thank you. All right, so last couple minutes here. I do have another question. This one actually is directed towards Kelly. What's the most valuable report for executives that you have built on data from Service Hub?
Oh man. Well, it's worth saying we are in the process of implementing it, right? So we've not yet rolled it out. We're not yet folded it into the organization. So there's that asterisk. Of the ones that I've seen though, like I am the most interested in like service tickets per customer, right? So if we continue to see that the same type of service ticket pops up over and over and over again for like a customer, that's an opportunity for our client success managers or account managers to come in and say, hey, we've noticed that you're having this issue. Like, is there an opportunity for us to provide some extra training about this? Is there an opportunity to come in and do this? Or hey, here's a cool knowledge base article that talks about this that comes up over and over and over again. Be sure to like bookmark this. So that's very much like a report I'm interested in seeing. Also for me, kind of selfishly putting my marketing hat on, I'm just very much interested in to see the kinds of tickets that we're getting in, because that's very much an unknown for me at the moment. So if we're seeing the same kind of tickets over and over again from a global scale for all of our clients, that's a good opportunity for product enhancement conversations. It's a good content opportunity for me. So I can create content that addresses a specific need that may be popping up in the industry that our clients or potential customers aren't explicitly telling us, but we're able to see inside of that data. So I'm really like interested in ticket types and reporting, some of the reporting capabilities that I know we'll have once it's launched there.
Very cool.
Very cool. righty. There were no other official questions. If anybody
All
else has anything you'd like to quickly add in the chat, I feel like we covered a lot in a short time, and there is obviously a lot in service and a lot more to explore always as HubSpot continues to update and listen, and they're also bleeding their own colors. So I just really do appreciate that they take the feedback and they update accordingly. So thank you guys so much for your time. And I hope you all have a lovely afternoon. Did Michael or Kelly have anything to add before we
No,
head
I want
out?
to thank you guys all for your time today. I know how critical things are midweek to do this, but I appreciate it. Look for us. I know Emily would be promoting our next hug. I know it's coming up next. I think we're going to take a few, William, that's not correct. We'll take a few months off for the summertime, and then we'll kind of reconvene at the end of fall. I think either August or September. But the biggest thing about this is a crowdsourced type forum, meaning if there's topics or ideas that you want to hear about or know about, please send them our way and we can definitely vet them out. And if you're somebody out there that'd like to maybe even present or talk or lead a discussion, I think that'd be another key thing to do as well. I don't want it just to be the four of us that are here. I think it like I said before, it takes community, and I want us all to be involved. If you have something that you can lead into, I think that'd be perfect to do. But I want to thank everybody on this side, Kara and Emily, who's not here, as well as Abigail, for help facilitating this. Believe it or not, it takes a lot of work to put these things together, and so I appreciate you guys more than you know about this. And Kelly, thank you for taking the time today. I know even a lot of stuff is stuff you live and breathe every day. It took some time to kind of just really put your thoughts together, and that really helps out. So I appreciate the insight. And thank you guys all. Again, if we don't talk to you, you guys have a great summer. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns, optimization, anything about HubSpot, but we'd love to help people where we can. But thank you guys for all your attention today and your process through this. But have a great day and a great weekend.
Yes, thank you. And quick plug, check out Inbound conference coming up in the fall as well. We
Yes,
will definitely be there, and we will see you guys soon. Keep in touch on LinkedIn, etc.
All right.
Have a great
Thank you,
one.
guys. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Abigail. Bye-bye.